Milwaukee firefighters don't always need a specific address when they respond to an emergency. The reason for the call can be quite obvious. But that's not always the case for other emergency personnel. Fire department paramedics and private ambulances are often called to an alley at the rear of a certain address. Finding the right house can be a problem. Whether it's day or night, police officers involved in a chase or other emergency can't always be sure of their location. And they've all been in a position where an alley address would have been a big help.
Oh, many times in the past we've been sent to something that's occurred in an alley and all we get is the 100 block, 2700 block, 3500 block, whatever. No pinpoint. And so you start at one end of the alley and you have someone start at the other end and you're trying to find what this is. And if it's a life and death situation, every second counts. And I've had that happen in shooting cases, injuries when someone was working on their auto, and you need to get there as quick as you can. So an address on the garage would definitely help us.
Alderman George Butler is behind the current effort to inform city residents of the law requiring numbers along the alley and the importance of having an address on the garage or back of a house. With more than 25 years on the police force, Alderman Butler has had a few experiences of his own.
There's been numerous occasions when I've been in the back of a alley in an alley chasing a suspect, and you just, they ask for your location, and all you can do is give a guesstimate.
Take a look around your neighborhood. You'll probably find a number of addresses along the alley. There'll be many different styles, and many garages with no numbers at all. The numbers are important for special trash pickups and garbage complaints, but they're especially critical for police officers.
When they're involved in a pursuit, be it on foot or by vehicle, when they get in the back of these alleys and they're trying to give their location as to where the suspect is or where they're at, it's almost impossible. I mean, to give a color of a house, you may have 2 or 3 houses in the front that are the same color, or in fact, the front of a house may not be the same color as that in the back. So it's very important.
The law covering street-side numbers has been on the books at least 60 years. It was amended in 1980 to include the posting of numbers at the rear or side of properties adjacent to alleys. Violations can be punished by a fine of $1 to $5 plus court costs, but your safety should be the primary concern.
Well, I would encourage them to do it for their own benefit. I mean, they may be the ones that need that medical assistance or that may have that complaint in their backyard, and we, it's for their own good, and it's a nominal fee.
The city's Division of Engineers will sell you tile numbers, 60 cents a tile, $1.50 for the frame. You can contact them at 286-2413, or you can check any hardware store. The law doesn't specify any particular kind of number, but whatever the style, they should not be less than 3 inches in height, including background. When you're in distress, you need an address. Give police officers and other emergency workers an assist. A rear house number could save your life. Of Milwaukee's 220 bridges, 19 are mechanical, able to be raised over the city's 3 main riverways, the Milwaukee, the Menominee, and the Kinnickinnick. Many are on an angle, the result of a bridge war between city founders Juneau, Kilbourne, and Walker. They intentionally misalign the streets on their sides of the rivers. Werner Tram, a bridge operator for many years, now supervisor of operations, says they've always been an important part of our history.
The first bridges were swing bridges, wooden bridges, or floating platform bridges. Most of the time, the horses would have to run at a full gallop to get across before the bridge would actually sink with some of the loads.
Around the turn of the century, cities were ordered to build sturdier, more functional bridges. The Ember Lane Bridge in the Menominee Valley is the oldest movable bridge in the city, built in 1904. Several blocks to the west, you can see the highest movable bridge in Milwaukee. The 16th Street Viaduct sits 35 feet above water level. There are two types of movable bridges over our rivers. This type is called a bascule, a French word which translates as seesaw or teeter-totter. This other view from the river and the Iroquois excursion boat shows how it opens in the middle, raised with electrically operated gears. The size of a boat passing through a bascule bridge is limited by the width of the boat, not the height of the bridge. The second type is the hydraulic bridge. Its center deck lifted straight up, elevator style. Cheaper to build, not big enough for all boats. But where they've been installed, access was already limited by the height of the two freeway segments which cross the river. 7 of the river bridges are staffed during the months they are open, only 4 for 24 hours a day. One is remotely controlled, the others open by roving operators.
Well, we have a joke where we always say that it has its ups and downs. A lot of times it's just waiting around for something to happen. Other times you're running around and you don't have enough time to hardly keep up to the customers because they all want to have an opening at the same time.
When a bridge is opened and traffic backs up, several things can happen, depending on the patience of those directly involved in this form of urban gridlock.
Some of them like to get out of their car and observe the boats. It's something that's kind of like a tourist attraction. Others, you get a lot of horns and maybe a shaking fist or two and some deleted language.
Oh, the cars, they really enjoy telling you stories about your family. They give you other names than what you were. They tell you your mother's heritage and everything. They are sometimes can be very vulgar.
Bridge operators understand the impatience, but according to the law, the bridge is the obstruction to the boater, who has less control and the right-of-way.
Federal waterways have the right-of-way. The bridge is actually an obstruction, and we're charged with getting obstruction out of the way of the river traffic.
While bridges can cause problems for drivers and boaters, they occasionally have some unique problems of their own, especially the older bascule bridges like State Street, built in 1924.
In a situation like this bridge, the steel is getting very tired, exhausted, and it's expanding at a faster rate on hot days like today. It's very hard to open and close a bridge like this because they expand. Sometimes you have to get the fire trucks over here to wash them down, cool them down, and then you'll first get it to seat.
To make the bridges and river more user-friendly, the city offers a colorful guide detailing instructions for bridge openings. It's available by calling 286-3450. You'll learn when bridges are staffed, proper horn signals, water level, and restricted hour information. It's a busy time of year for our river bridges. The up and down process is one that's repeated over 18,000 times each season.
We're most likely to because we're on the boats all the time. We're cruising just like a patrol car.
The specialized unit has been patrolling the waters in and around the city since 1961. Rivers and water channels in the city are part of what's called the inner harbor. They're monitored by a 25-foot Boston whaler. Speeding and ignoring no-wake rules are among the most frequent violations. The outer harbor is patrolled by a larger boat, a 30-foot Sea Ark. 12 officers comprise the Harbor Patrol, working closely with the U.S. Coast Guard and the State Department of Natural Resources, which provides much of the police boat funding. A lot of the enforcement here is for safety items, such as fire extinguishers and life jackets, and improper registration. Without a doubt, it's the largest patrol area of any squad in the city.
City limits are from roughly Capitol Drive on the north to Oklahoma on the south and out to the middle of the lake. And in that area we enforce city ordinances, all ordinance pertaining to the water. And we do search and rescue, assist boaters that are in trouble.
And boaters do get in trouble many times a season. Some simply lack the experience needed on a large lake. Many problems are mechanical, some caused by accident or carelessness.
Well, we do a lot of search and rescue. We probably tow in, we tow boats in probably anywhere from 100 to 150 boats a summer. And these are boats that are disabled, boats that have run aground, or boats that have had some sort of problems and are calling for help.
A lot of them are simply engines broken down, sails ripped, rudders broken, not where there's a real serious life-threatening situation, but there again, if you start blowing east and you're out on the lake for a couple of days, then it can be real serious. When the weather gets bad, then you earn your money. To try and tow another boat in when you've got even 4 and 5 foot seas becomes real exciting.
The giant waves that churn the lake can be extremely dangerous when police are called to assist a boater in such a storm. Heavy fog is another serious obstacle in search and rescue, and there are other situations not found on shore.
We do get a lot of calls during violent weather. One thing that we've dealt with over the years, and that's windsurfers. They like the wind, they like the waves, and they'll be out there in 10-foot waves. And occasionally we will get a call to rescue one. Or we may get a call with the strong winds, where we've had a sailboat where his mast snapped off. And when the mast came down, it entangled up in his prop, so he was out there drifting around. We had to go get him. So there is a lot of calls, and it is kind of a little bit scary going out there when it does get that violent.
We've had situations where it gets so foggy when you go out through our gaps that you can't see either side of the gap. And you have kind of a dangerous situation. It can be like this, and if the wind changes, the fog will come in and you get a lot of boaters that are out on the lake that aren't really equipped for the fog. And we'll have to go out and sometimes bring like a daisy chain in of 5, 6 boats through the gaps.
During those conditions, the police often rely on sophisticated tracking equipment, such as the satellite-controlled global positioning system. The situations can be quite different than those encountered on land, and the boaters can also be unique.
Well, you don't get sent to a lot of the problem calls like you do on land. You don't get sent to shootings or robberies out here. Occasionally a family trouble, but on a boat. But you're dealing with people that are in a happier mood. They're out here having fun. And so those are some of the differences.
Among the most unusual calls, joining the Coast Guard to board a Russian freighter in search of contraband. The busiest times are often during major fireworks displays along the lakefront. A brochure listing boating regulations of the city and state is available from the police boats or the police administration building. With the growing interest and development around Milwaukee's rivers and along Lake Michigan, the Milwaukee Police search and rescue boats provide added insurance, increasing the city's ability to protect the safety of people and property.